Hello, everyone, again. I'm here with Eva Reder from Growth Masters and also Manos Accelerator of Google Launchpad, if I'm pronouncing this all right. Thank you a lot for joining us. That's really a pleasure to have you at our conference. And I hope that our founders and other attendees will get a lot of great information and insights from you. I will leave the stage to you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It is a pleasure to be here today. I'm joining you from San Francisco, and it's still really early here, and this is a great way to start my Friday. And yeah, I'm really excited to share this session about growth hacking here with you. I will go through the slides. I know we don't have a lot of time, but also I will share those slides with you later on, and there are some resources that you will get to take away from this presentation. So if we can't cover everything in 30 minutes, there is more after the presentation. So to talk a little bit about growth hacking, the mindset that I want to share with all of you is that there's a lot of startups that have great products, but they don't know how to get them to market. And having lived here in Silicon Valley, being involved in the growth of different startups and growth in customer acquisition and also at the accelerator, it breaks my heart whenever I see startups with great products just not being able to acquire enough customers. And this is why I'm so passionate about growth hacking and customer acquisition, because there's so many awesome products out there that people don't know about. And yeah, that is why I'm so passionate about growth hacking. This is a quote by Gabriel Weinberg, who's the author of Traction, which is a very good book, and I recommend it to you if you're interested in growth hacking. Also, brief overview if you don't know the concept of growth hacking at all. It was basically invented by Sean Ellis, who's like the godfather of growth hacking. And it also comes from the notion that here in Silicon Valley, people have been really good at building products for a long time, but they kind of neglected growth and customer acquisition. And he was the one that kind of initiated this whole movement, which is just the notion that everything you do in your company is supposed to serve growth. So a little overview again, we're going to talk briefly about, we already covered kind of what growth hacking is. We'll go through some specific examples that you can apply in your startup. We'll do some case studies, and at the end, you'll get some resources like these I'm sharing here on the right on the slide. So I think the coolest kind of resource you're going to be able to take away from this talk is the list of 1,000 growth hacks, and I'll share at the end how you can access that one. A little bit about my background, so you know that I know what I'm talking about. So I'm the co-founder of Growth Masters, which is a LinkedIn organic growth agency. We've generated about 70 million views over the last year for our clients on LinkedIn. You've probably seen a lot of our content, but don't know it's us. We ghostwrite pretty viral content for people, mostly VCs, startup founders, and consultants to really cool companies like Netflix, Disney, Stanford. So we work with really intense people, and also private equity, VC. So that's my day job, and then I have a passion for startups. I'm a mentor to a few of them, and I'm a partner at Manos Accelerator via Google Launchpad, which is an accelerator focused on Latin America, and I've been involved with them for 4 years now. I also had a startup previously that graduated from Plug and Play here in Silicon Valley, which is the largest accelerator in the world. So I also have quite a bit of experience with being a founder in tech. Yeah, the best way to connect with me is on LinkedIn. I'll share my link later on one more time. Some brief mindset lessons I want to share with you. Growth hacking, and I've experienced this a lot myself, working with companies like I've worked with Fiverr.com just before they went IPO, and the startup that they acquired called Enco. I've worked with different startups at different stages, very early on, very late stage. And something that has really, really shown is that you can't sprinkle growth on top of a broken product. So there's sometimes that tug of war between people that say the product is everything, development is everything, and then there's the marketing people, and sometimes there's this tension between them. But what I've really learned over the years is that you need both. Both things matter just the same. And if you don't have product market fit, you won't be able to just like growth hack it. And I've experienced that a lot working in like growth consulting. Startups come to me, they've tried everything, they just like couldn't get things to work, and then they think they'll hire a growth hacker that will fix it all for them. That is not how it works. The best growth hacking happens when so this is a funny just meme about basically what I mean. You can't just like sprinkle the growth on top of things like salt on your meat. But this is what I actually meant. So this is what founders often think. They build, then they think it's ready, they launch it, they go to market, and then they think, oh, let's hire a growth hacker and let's just do some posts on social media and like make this blow up. Let's just promote what we built. That's not really what works, because it's a constant process of talking to your audience, getting feedback, building it back into the product, and then releasing it again. It's a very lean process, and that really, like if you're a startup founder and you're looking to like hire a growth hacker or build a growth team internally, really make sure they're integrated with your product team. Because I've had that experience as a consultant. Sometimes I was working with a startup and they hire me to, let's say, build a Facebook group for them or build like a social media strategy to promote their product. But then I discover things. I'm like, oh, wow, the onboarding sequence actually should have the button to join their Facebook group. The product itself should have a link to the resources on the website, things like that. And then if you're not integrated with the product team, it's really hard to actually make a difference. And then most of those growth projects fail because in the end, you work on it for the startup, you build a like growth strategy on like an island, but because it's not integrated, like it won't really drive signups or anything like that. So really make sure that it's integrated with your product team. Also, really know your numbers. There's a lot of hype around like cool growth hacks. There's a lot of metrics to get confused by, big numbers on social media or engagement on platforms that doesn't really drive signups. Like, don't get confused by it. Always know your numbers, know your customer acquisition cost, know your lifetime value, know how long customers on average stay with you. Really use your common sense. And if something just doesn't make sense for you, if people tell you like, oh, I'm going viral every day on Reddit, I'm like launching here, I'm posting there, and I have so many followers on Instagram, but it's not driving signups, then maybe that strategy isn't for you. Really know your numbers and apply common sense. And then, yeah, like once you know your numbers, that's how you can really evaluate whether growth hacks are working for you or not. For example, here's this like really famous example from Dropbox, where back in the days, they had this referral program where they invited, you could invite a friend and you would get like more storage for inviting people. And that is really how they grew. And yeah, it was a really, really smart hack in how they got their initial users, but it had to work. Like, you can't apply the same growth hack to your startup. You really need to know your numbers, your business model, and draft a growth strategy that works for you. Can't just go for famous examples and try to plug and play them into your company. But the best practice I recommend is knowing about all these examples out there, drawing inspiration from them, then knowing your own numbers and crafting something that is unique to your product. And there's a lot of options. Here's just a list of different traction channels you can experiment with. I usually recommend trying different channels, but then focusing on one or two. Like, try a lot of different things, and whatever shows promise, focus on that. Don't try to do it all. I see way too many companies and way too many early stage startups oversubscribing because they see, I don't know, Airbnb is doing everything. Also, Airbnb is about to go public. They have hundreds of employees. Don't do that to your marketing team. Focus on things that work and try to build that top to bottom. Because also that's a mistake I see. A lot of startups, they pick growth hacks and they're getting a lot of like seemingly traction, but it's not going all the way through from awareness to conversion. So try to build like your own like mix of these traction channels in a way that they go from all the way that a client hears about you for the first time, all the way down to conversion, and then actually also to referral. So your existing clients refer you to others. So now let's get to some of the examples. And these are all examples I've actually seen or worked on myself, and I know that they're working, and it's not just some prescriptive idea that actually doesn't work in reality. So something that I've seen is really powerful that actually also doesn't cost you a lot of money is partnerships and integrations, especially for early stage startups. This is really, really a big idea, and a lot of people have leveraged this successfully in the past. So find other products and other services that have a similar user base, message them, and try to do cross promotions. There's not really a roadmap for that. There's not a template of how to do that. It's really just finding other communities or services that are at a similar stage than you are, and talk to the founders, contact them on LinkedIn, contact them on Twitter, and show them that there's value for them to partner with you and do something together. So for example, this was an example that I worked with on Enco, which is a company that Fiverr acquired, and here they partnered with Death to Stock, which is a stock image site, and they created like a proposal presentation slides for freelancers, and they put it up on both of their websites, and they got a lot of downloads for that. So it can be simple integrations like that on just like a engineered marketing project, or it could also be something that's way more product driven, which is something I saw at Runtastic, which, for example, they partner with MyFitnessPal, and they had an integration with Runtastic, so the data actually synced in MyFitnessPal. And yeah, so this is like a more product-driven way of a partnership, and you can approach it from different angles. But the idea is to partner with somebody that has a similar user base. Same with 23andMe, did that with Fitbit. So this is something that happens a lot in startups, and it's a very impactful way of doing things because it actually, in most cases, leads to actual signups. Then referral campaigns are another really big strategy. This is something a lot of companies do. It's also a very product-driven growth strategy. So if you have a strong development team, if you have like a SaaS product that you can give away more of, this is like a really good strategy. You can set up little plugins like that with, let's say, Viral Loops is a software, and yeah, you can have people invite their friends, share your product, and then get more of your product. This is also something that Airtable does very successfully. It's also the strategy that Dropbox did back in the days. And it's really powerful because it doesn't actually cost you more if you're a SaaS startup. Yeah, this is also something Box does. Really good strategy because you're getting more users, it doesn't cost you anything. And you also existing users actually like your product enough to try it out. Social proof is any page. Make sure that your website is optimized so you don't have a leaky bucket. People trying to get more traffic to their websites, but they don't actually have a website that converts. So you're losing a lot of that traffic. So make sure that your website is optimized, and make sure that you have social proof on there, like who are reputable clients, what are publications you got featured on awards that you won. You can also install one of these plugins. I know the founders from Proof, so I recommend that one. It's a plugin, and it shows like recent purchases. Very powerful way to make your website convert better. Now switching over to strategies for content marketing, social media, which is really the background that I'm the strongest in. I've mostly worked on content and social media driven growth, mostly organic, not that much with ads. So if you have any questions about this part of growth hacking, that's really my background. So for example, here's some ideas. ebooks, white papers. This is something I've seen Enco execute really well. They had this interesting idea of actually selling their white papers, making them so valuable and look so legit that they also had an opportunity to distribute that on Amazon, not just on their website, which is something for people to consider, like actually making your white paper so valuable that it would be worth paying for them, and that gives you access to distribute that on other channels, like even Amazon, or even like ship it to people. Or you can distribute your white papers on platforms and places that people already spend their time on, which is a strategy that I applied a lot and that we still do now on LinkedIn. Initially, we did it a lot on Facebook. So basically, what I've learned about getting traction on social media, like Facebook, LinkedIn, any of the organic platforms, is you want to take content that people would be willing to pay for in many case scenarios and give it to them for free. So do not try to just go on social media and promote your product. Actually build a social first strategy that is focused on value first. So it's value, 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 value. And the moment people engage with your content, the moment you're having those conversations, build other steps in the funnel to convert them. But do not try to get them into the funnel by saying, hey, go buy my product or sign up today. That is not a strategy that works on social media, because that's what those platforms want you to pay for. So if you're running ads, cool. Create an ad that's like, sign up today, get a month for free, here's my product, buy today. If you scroll through your organic newsfeed, you will not see a lot of posts with a lot of engagement that just say, sign up today. It is going to be value, it's going to be entertaining, and as a content creator, you need to produce content that is actually valuable. For example, here's an example we did for Enco. It was a freelance guide with 100 tools to skyrocket your business. And we posted this preview and we asked people to comment, and then we would send it to them. Lots of comments. This was on Facebook, 360 comments, which is a lot for a page that didn't have a lot of engagement previously. It reached over 7,000 people. And then you got all these comments from people saying, yes, I would like to see this ebook. And then you send it to them. On Facebook, you can do that with a chatbot, for example, to chat fuel, so it's automatic. And then within the resource that you're giving away, within the content that you're getting people to engage with, you can build that next step to convert them into users. And just keep in mind that from awareness to conversion, you on average need like 7 touch points. So again, don't try to convert them on the first touch point. It is value, 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 and then somewhere towards the end, you actually try to convert them. You can do a lot with tactics like this. Like I just gave you one idea with it, which is chat fuel, which is to build a chat bot to then send people something that they ask for on social media. You can also get their email addresses and then actually contact them with a tool like Mixmax or Mailshake or HubSpot, and nurture those people from Facebook on another platform like email. Then this is my platform that I'm the most comfortable with, which is LinkedIn. This is an example of the kind of content we do for our clients. Yeah, and you'll see like we get a lot of engagement. This has over 200,000 views on a post. Again, what makes this work is the fact that it's a lot of value. It is not us trying to promote a LinkedIn agency. It is not us trying to promote a company. This is a strategy that takes multiple touch points, but this is how you actually dominate social media. Again, you do not have to pick social media or organic as your channel, but if you do, build an actual strategy. Don't just try to convert people through the actual post. Here again, some more examples of the kind of work we've done. This post got over 1 million views for a client. lots of comments, lots of engagement, but then you really need to know what you actually do with that engagement and follow up with those people. Yeah, if you want to go viral on LinkedIn, here's kind of the principles. A lot of people think it's about the posting time. It's about like whether the background is blue or red or all these little things. But it really just comes down to understanding your audience and creating value for them. So how you can understand what is value to your audience is actually by studying what is currently already going viral on a platform. And this applies to like Facebook, LinkedIn, any platform you want to hack. It is looking at what's currently trending, what is the kind of content that is going viral. You do that by just going on the LinkedIn feed, looking at people that target your same audience and seeing what kind of content that they've created and what is going viral and is being shown and delivered in your newsfeed, and try to replicate some of that. So I'm not saying try to copy them, don't try to steal their content, but you may want to try to get inspired by it and not try to reinvent the wheel. Another, like I think the most high impact thing and the biggest mistake I see people make is they are trying to constantly link out of social media. They think this is Facebook, this is LinkedIn, I'm gonna go there and post links to my blog. I'm gonna post links to my YouTube. I'm gonna try to promote things that I post on Instagram, on LinkedIn. This makes no sense. It may have worked a little bit in the past because those platforms didn't have a lot of content, but these days there's so many people posting content. Think about what the platform wants. The platform wants people to scroll through the newsfeed indefinitely and never leave. So if you post a link to your blog, what's going to happen? People scroll through that, they see a link, they click on it, they're gone. Obviously, that is not in the algorithm's best interest. This is not what Facebook wants. This is not what LinkedIn wants. They want people to stay on the platform. So if you can be the algorithm's best friend, post content natively. This means if you want to promote your blog post, you have content that worked well on another platform, think about the best format to actually post that on LinkedIn natively. Either write a blog post on LinkedIn, sum it up and post a status update, take a screenshot of some graphs or statistics, post those as images, anything you can to actually build a following on that platform. That's what the platform wants. They don't want, Instagram does not want you to just promote your like Shopify store. They want you to promote content on Instagram. So this is something that I've seen happen a lot more over the last few years. All of these platforms want you to build a following natively on there. So if you want to build traffic to your blog, try to build that through SEO, through on-site optimization, offsite optimization. Actually try to get traffic through your own blog. If you want to build a following on LinkedIn, build a LinkedIn native strategy. Build up an audience on LinkedIn, message them on LinkedIn, post content on LinkedIn. So each platform is its very own thing. Don't try to cross-promote. Yeah, and do not post links. I know I already don't have a lot of time, but we started a little bit late. So I'll just go through some more selected growth hacks, and then I'll wrap it up. Here's some tools that you can use to even take it further. So let's say we publish on LinkedIn, we get a lot of engagement, and now we actually want to convert those into, let's say, an email list, or we want to do more with that engagement. There's a tool called Phantom Buster. It will help you convert, or you can do a lot of things with it. You can scrape comments, you can contact people through messages on LinkedIn, you can export searches, upload them to other email tools. There's a lot of things. I recommend you look into Phantom Buster. There's also automation tools. For example, Linked Helper, DuckSoup, there's a lot of them. I don't recommend you overdo it. It's kind of, LinkedIn doesn't like it. You do run the risk of getting blocked, but the principle still applies, even if you do it manually. It's really powerful LinkedIn is really powerful to identify your ideal audience, connect with them, and start conversations on LinkedIn in combination with content. This is a really powerful growth hack. It's what our whole company is based on. This is how we're generating a lot of like deal flow, opportunities, prospects for our clients every month. And I highly recommend you look into LinkedIn as a platform, especially if you're in B2B. Here's other tools, text oblique tablet. They're all the same. There's a lot of discussion about like which tool to use on LinkedIn. So if you start getting into that, don't think that there's like a huge difference. They are all very similar. You can do the same content strategy on other platforms. Reddit is blowing up right now. Quora.com is really, really growing. Same tactic on all of them. It's give value first, try to build an organic, native experience for people, and then try to convert that later. Here's a list of some communities you can look into. It's the same on Facebook groups. We've built communities to over 5,000 members within like 3 months using the same strategy. It's just, there's so many people that like Facebook groups, they just go in and they're like, hey, like check out my webinar, do this, do that, click here, sign up there. You're gonna totally dominate the space. If you go in there and you're like, here's a list of 30 tools to like write better blog headlines. Here's a list of 200 Facebook posts you can repurpose for any target audience. You just give value to your community. This works best if it's a B2C, like a consumer startup, like let's say you're building like a fitness community or something like that, but it also works for B2B. We've seen both work. And then in general, with growth hacking, just be creative, come up with new ideas, build things that make sense for your company, and do the unexpected. Here's one last interesting little idea that I saw Enco do that worked really well for them, which was actually print their ebooks and ship it to people. And the reactions were like crazy because nobody's used to that. So don't just follow beaten path, experiment with different things and measure them against your benchmarks and see what works for you. Now, this is my parting gift. I have a list of over 1,000 growth hacks, and I also posted them on my LinkedIn today. So this is actually how you can access it. So if you want the list of 1,000 growth hacks, connect with me on LinkedIn, and you're going to see my recent post, which is about the 1,000 growth hacks. And you just follow the directions on the post, and you can get access to it. Again, don't try to do them all. One growth hack that works is way better than a list of 1,000. I see way too many founders like collecting these ideas, but never trying anything. Try one thing top to bottom, and it can be really, really powerful. Here's some other tools. Clarity FM is my favorite. So if you're confused right now, you're like, these are so many different ideas. I actually don't know where to start at all. Get a mentor, get access to people. And the best way to do this is Clarity FM, in my opinion. It's one of our clients and mentors platforms. Mattel, who's a big influencer in the SaaS space, and this is the best platform. What is it? You can choose mentors for pretty much any category. It's people that signed up that are interested in talking to anybody for money. So you pay them by the minute. Not everybody's as expensive. So there's some people on there that like do it for free or for really cheap, like $1 per minute or something. So this gets rid of all the like awkward, like, do you want to be my mentor? Can I pick your brain? All of that things. So you can just go in there. You're like, I want to know how to do Facebook ads. You look for the person. You request a call. You talk to them for 15 minutes. If it's $1 per minute, that's $15. Cheaper than taking them out for dinner. Cheaper than than meeting them at a conference. Just ask all your questions and then try to execute those things in-house. You can keep talking to those people and have them quarterback your strategy. This is the best strategy and best advice I have for you if you want to get started with growth hacking. Try to pick things that you think will work for you and then talk to really experienced people, have them give you the strategy, then execute it in-house and keep talking to them to compare the results. Fiverr.com, great marketplace if you want to bring in some like small gigs, graphic design. They have improved a lot. And if you haven't tried working with Fiverr, try that. GetLatka.com, this is a database of SaaS benchmarks. Nathan Latka also has a magazine. You can look at different companies' metrics, KPIs. Highly recommended for you to compare your own metrics to theirs and see where you rank in terms of numbers. Sniply and other elements. Don't try to build things and design things from scratch all the time. I see so many startups spend way too much time on like the graphic design, their like ebook designs, anything like that. Work with templates, move fast, and actually get traction. Here's a list of some other resources. I'll share the slides. Here's a little bonus, and you can also look at those in your own time. And then here's how you can get access to my resource. I posted it on LinkedIn. Just connect with me, Eva Reder. Leave a comment. And if you leave a comment, I'll get back to you and I'll send you that full list.
So we got some questions from people. Yes, so first, do you have a personal favorite hack that you find yourself using the most?
Yes, so for me, it is LinkedIn. It is posting valuable content on LinkedIn and then connecting with people through, let's say, Sales Navigator, sending them connection requests, nurturing those relationships, and then in combination with the content, that is really rocket fuel because you're building those relationships with high quality leads, and at the same time they're seeing your content. You seem way more legit than so many other people that are just doing cold outreach, and tying those things together really is rocket fuel. But this really does depend on the kind of company you run. This works really well if you're in a B2B space. You need let's say 100 customers and you're good. This does not work that well if you have a free app. Just imagine having to go user by user, just messaging people. That would not work. So anytime I've worked with B2C startups or free apps, things like that, it's actually not necessarily easier than doing B2B sales because you need such a big quantity of users. And in those cases, I've really seen that the product is even more important. The growth needs to be built into the product, and the product itself needs to be inviting more and more users over time. There needs to be a referral system. Otherwise, it's almost impossible to acquire 3 million users. If you need to get each individual person, there needs to be that shade where you acquire, let's say, 1,000 initial users, and then they need to recommend the rest of the 3 million. Otherwise, it's almost not possible to acquire all of them through ads or anything like that. But for B2B, my favorite platform and growth hack is LinkedIn. Okay.
Next question. What was the most popular approach with Phantom Buster? Can you share an example?
Yes. So Phantom Buster, really powerful thing I've done in the past was, for example, post something like that post I just published. And you can see I did that 10 minutes before my talk, and I already have a lot of comments, I think. Let me see what it's at right now. I actually don't know. Okay, I already have 2,000 views, 76 comments. So that was within 15 minutes. Now, I can, with Phantom Buster, scrape all the comments. I can download everybody that commented on that post. I'm gonna export that into a Google Sheet. So then I have a list of all those people, and then I can message all of them through Phantom Buster, let's say the link to that resource I posted about, so I don't have to do that manually. And then I can, again, take that whole list, find their email addresses, and I can also email them and add them to my email list. So that is something really, really powerful with Phantom Buster. Also really powerful, another one I love is you can find people's LinkedIn profiles from, let's say, their Facebook. So you can export people from a Facebook group you manage, find them on LinkedIn, and then connect with them there.
All right. Other questions?
It needs to refresh Phantom Buster every few hours and prove I'm a real person. How can launch campaign for 24 hours without checking? Then you might just be overdoing it. And this is something with growth hacking that we in our agency are big fans of just doing things organically and actually not automating, because the platforms actually don't want you to automate, and it's not necessary. So if you get like warning signs from Phantom Buster or LinkedIn, you might just be overdoing it. So I would recommend just going less aggressive, being more selective with who you want to target, and building a strategy that doesn't only rely on those tools. So for example, that could mean getting an initial 100 people into your funnel through a hack like that, but then actually having like a referral strategy that works organically. But yeah, I don't know what the exact growth hack is that you're doing on Phantom Buster, but you may just have to go slower on the limit.
All right, so if no more questions, we will let you continue your day. That's the morning in or you're now in Austria, or you're now in the US?
I'm in the US and it's 8 a.m. here. So the talk started at 7:20, but it was a great way to start my Friday. So
wow, very good. Amazing.
I was really happy to be here with you guys, and hopefully we can all connect on LinkedIn. And yeah, I do recommend you follow my content, my posts. That's also where we give away a lot of that value. Also my clients, we publish a lot of startup content that I think is really valuable.
Cool, great. Really, really thank you for joining us, for finding time for our conference and our startups. I am sure they got a lot of great content from you already, and we'll get even more by following your LinkedIn. And I hope we will see you sometime soon in Tbilisi as well.
Yes, thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Great. Have a nice Friday. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.